Hey, welcome to the Whiskey Wealth Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Glenn Palmer, and in on this show is for those who respect the craft of fine spirits and think long term about wealth. Now, before we dive in, very quick word from our sponsor. This episode was brought to you by Whiskey Wealth Mastery, where serious investors learn to build wealth through whiskey casts the right way, with data-driven investing and in a quietly powerful asset that historically has delivered between 8 and 12% annual growth. If you've ever wondered whether whiskey could be more than something that you just drink and actually something that you own, grow, and monetize strategically, that's exactly what they do. So find me on LinkedIn at Glenn Palmer Online or check out the show notes below to explore more. Because if you're going to play the long game, you may as well play it like a warrior. So, today's episode, I'm joined by someone who's taken a pretty unique path from producing content for major media platforms like Forbes and Vice to now building a premium cocktail brand with Booz Box. Ryan Provost is the co-founder and CEO behind a brand bringing bar quality into ready drink format. Ryan, welcome to the show. Appreciate you taking time to come out and come on. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Glenn. I appreciate the invite.
More than welcome. I think you are doing amazing things with cocktails. I cannot
Thank
wait to
you.
start and get stuck in. So, um, right off the bat, question that I ask everybody: if time travel became a reality, right? You had a chance to go back in time, have a chat to when you first started out. What would you actually say to your younger self?
I think that I would, tell myself to never give up. That's something that honestly I always think about, as days go by with this business. And starting out, that's one thing I did implement. But I thought about giving up so many times, in my early stages, and years went on, and we still haven't launched the idea. We started the idea in summer of 2020 during the pandemic, and we didn't launch
Yeah,
until 2024. So all those
it was a long
years
process.
spent, yeah, building and getting our ducks in a row for the business and really figuring out our business model and where we wanted to take it. So during those years, yeah, I just, just head down with my business partner and just got everything ready to go. And, here we are today. So yeah, I think that that's one of the most important aspects of honestly, being an entrepreneur is never giving up. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
100% agree with that, bud. So when you started, you started in media. So what has storytelling, production, content, how much of that and that background has been carried over and influenced on
Mhm.
how you've built Booze Box as a brand?
So in media and television production, I was a video editor. So I would edit episodic reality TV shows, and that helped out tremendously with our content that you see mostly on our Instagram page, and we have a YouTube channel and TikTok. So implementing that kind of creative eye that I developed over the years, I implemented that to this business. And that was just one of the factors that kind of was our strong point, or has been our
Hmm.
strong point, is, creating great content. And I have a couple great contacts and good friends in the industry that also helped, do some of the video filming and, getting our content to where it is right now. So from an editor's perspective, yeah, like taking that content and really building a story out of Booze Box has been,
Yeah.
really, really awesome. So yeah, using that knowledge that I had in the TV industry and applying it to this, definitely helped 100%.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And, going from media and into the spirits world isn't the most obvious move. So, what was the moment where, you sat back and you thought, you know what, this is the lane that I am gonna go all in on. Uh, what was the thinking behind that?
So it was really summer of 2020 during the pandemic when I was living with my business partner in Jersey City. Um, we were kind of just sitting around the dinner table thinking of ideas of how we could start a business. And, that was a perfect time to be able to do this because, we're sitting around, kind of bored out of our minds, just trying to figure out what to do with our lives. And, I was working remotely at the time. My business partner was actually out of work. He was a bartender.
Mm.
Um, and we were just, yeah, just put our heads together one day and said, like we don't want to do this for the rest of our lives, so let's start a business. And we landed on, a boxed cocktail drink, called Booze Box. And, we got the idea from a wine box that we had in our fridge at the time. So that kind of influenced our idea and made it to what it is. Honestly, though, if I could go back, but bag and box was extremely hard to get going and to kind of get the necessary supply chain in order to build it to what you see today. Like it was incredibly hard finding
Yeah.
the right co-packers and the right producers to make this product. So we chose probably the most difficult thing to get into, but all in all, it did work out, I think.
Yeah.
We're working on smaller single serves as well right now. They're called Tetra Pak,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
along with the bag and box as well. So yeah, I think it worked out. And yeah, hopefully, it just gets easier as time goes on.
Yeah, well, hopefully it will. I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does. Now, box Brit drinks, you said that, well, you just said that the idea came from a box wine. Now, box drinks, they've been around for a long time. Now, rightly or wrongly, some people still associate that format with being low quality or a cheaper option. Now, at the same time, there is a massive big upside. There's portability, there's sustainability, there's recyclability, that actually makes a lot of sense. So, how have you approached shifting that perception with Booze Box and positioning it as something more than a premium craft led rather than falling into that inferior product category? So, how did you do that?
So we started off kind of classifying ourselves as a premium product, which honestly was a learning lesson for us. And we noticed that people weren't really going after that higher priced boxed product. So we had to pivot and really nail down our cost of goods and get that down quite a bit, which is what we're working on right now. So we went from a shelf price of 29.99, and we're working on a 19.99 product as we speak. So I think that that's honestly the way to go as a boxed beverage,
Hmm.
because when people see your product as a box, they automatically think that it's a little bit cheaper. So that's kind of the demographic that we're going after, along with going after the Gen Z demographic, which is that generation in itself is extremely broke. And they need to save money where they can. So I think really getting our pricing down to that 19.99 price point is going to help us out tremendously, and it's kind of going to give the just higher retention, higher reorders, and higher
Yeah,
volume at the end of the day. So that's kind of what we're aiming for, that producing that higher volume kind of product, and reducing our margins so just a little bit in order to get that product to really move to how we want it. And especially when we go to the cheaper single serve option, when we get a 500 milliliter Tetra Pak option for about
mm,
$5 off the shelf, then
yeah,
that's going to be where people really grab. This is what we're hoping, and just what we've seen with other products as well. Everybody wants to go as cheap as possible. They want to go for more of like a sampler product rather than going with a 1.75, which is what ours is now. So people want to sample the product first, going for the cheapest possible option instead of
yeah,
spending that 20-25 bucks for a larger option.
yeah.
So that's also something that we're taking into account when building this smaller and cheaper option.
Nice. So, in terms of your cocktail lineup, you've got, I know you've got your rum-based one, you've got your gin-based one, you've got your tequila-based one. Are you
No, no,
working
no
with
tequila yet. No tequila yet.
no
That's
tequila?
yeah,
All right.
that's actually going to be on our list for next one of our next flavors.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
So,
good.
Are you working with any whiskey-based cocktails at the moment? Is that
Um,
something that you see fitting in Booze Box range as you start to
yeah,
expand?
yeah. I think whiskey could work. It's not really on our list for one of our next flavors, but I think it could work, down the line.
Dude,
It's
you've
just
got
that, well,
you've
yeah,
got things like apple spritz, Southern peach cocktail that I can think
yeah,
of.
yeah.
Black whiskey smash with the black currant. Just
Yeah,
just putting some ideas out there, buddy.
yeah, no, thank you, and open to collaborate on any ideas too in the future. But yeah, our cocktails right now are going for really fruit forward, beachy, warm weather, tailgating kind of vibe, party
Like it.
pregame, like boating. That you get the idea.
Yeah,
Whiskey
yeah,
can fit in that for sure. Whiskey can fit like a whiskey lemonade or an
yeah,
old fashioned even could fit into our lineup. But I think one of our next is definitely going to be a tequila. I think having not going with a margarita flavor off the bat was kind of a mistake that we made. I think we
yeah,
should have started with a margarita. It's the number one selling cocktail in the whole world. So
yeah.
that was just something that we look back on, and it will be a nice kind of marketing campaign that we can run around the margarita though. So our next one will be a berry margarita after our first three, and then we're working on an espresso martini as well. So that'll be
Nice.
nice too, and then hopefully whiskey coming in third or fourth. Um, so yeah, that'll be exciting.
Nice. So there's always tension between scaling a whiskey drinks brand, scaling a drinks brand, sorry, and maintaining that quality. So how do you balance growth without diluting that experience?
So we kind of balance that like growth with experience by just going for what we really believe in. We believe in that this is going to be it's a Gen Z kind of lower or the demographic of being younger kind of college kid in your early 20s, 21 to 35 is what we're going for. So yeah, we want to bring that type of product to that type of demographic, and
Yeah.
we think the experiences involved in that, or just what I mentioned before. Anything from tailgates to sporting events, music. Younger people love to do that. I mean, and the older generation as well. But those are the ones that really pair that with drinking. So
Yeah.
we feel that'll be the best target.
Nice. Well, Ryan, thanks again for coming on, eh, chatting about Booze Box. It's really exciting. I think,
Thank you.
you know,
Thank you.
I think it'll go places. I can clearly see that this is something that you are really passionate about.
Thank you.
So I also want to take this opportunity to thank my listeners and viewers of YouTube as well. Um, just before we head off, Ryan, I'm sure some of my listeners and the viewers, they're going to want to know exactly where they can buy Booze Box cocktails, how to get in contact with you. So can you let me know how you can do that?
Yeah, sure thing. So we sell Booze Box here in the U.S. We're in 6 markets at the moment: New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Florida, California, and Texas, with many more on the way for this year. So we'll keep you
Nice.
posted on that, and you can contact us or me by our Instagram page. I think would be best. That's at Boozbox, BOOZBOX, and you'll be able to see all of our updates on our Instagram page. We post daily. We post fun content for just about everybody. So yeah, follow along, and we're looking forward to connecting with all of you.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Ryan. That
Thank
almost
you.
wraps up today's episode. I want to thank you for coming on to the show, Ryan. Thank you very much for sharing your brand with me. I wish you all the success, and I hope it really scales. And I really, really would like to see a whiskey one on the shelf.
Yeah,
Just
definitely. No,
putting it
that'll
out there.
be in our plans for sure, Glenn. Yeah, and
Yeah.
thank you very much for having me, Glenn. I appreciate the invite, and it's been great chatting with you.
You're more than welcome. So, this episode was brought to you by Whiskey Wealth Mastery, where serious investors learn how to build wealth through premium whiskey casks the right way. Now, if you've ever wondered whether whiskey is something that you could own, grow, and monetize, not just drink, you can get a free guide at whiskeywealthmastery.com/free. You've been listening to Whiskey Wealth Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Glenn Palmer. I was joined today by Ryan Provost. Thanks again for listening or watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.